Shalom, Yashrala. It's your brother Dawadah, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Aki, pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here news article that we see here pop up today dealing with Donald Trump, Iran, and basically World War III. All right, as we see, the spirit is being stirred up, for us to be hitting on these here lessons dealing with, World War III. All right, as the scriptures will get to, talk about wars and rumors of wars. We want to just go ahead and just keep these things highlighted because why? It's a part of what measuring the time diligently, so we don't get caught off guard. Like the scriptures say, the day cometh like a thief in the night. Make sure you watch. So therefore, this is why we constantly keep these things in reminder so that you don't get caught off guard with certain things here or there, But we also know how to measure the time diligently, where we know that, World War III is not going to pop off tomorrow because we know other prophecies like what the mark of the beast have to be implemented, fully enforced, all right? But nevertheless, we're going to just go through this here article, bring out some scriptures to show that this is all biblical prophecy, all taking place, all right? So we're not in a, a stalemate moment in time where prophecy isn't taking place, We're not having to wait, this is kind of like how the scriptures say about the birth pains, right? This isn't like, back in the old days, you might have a prophecy take place here, and then some years go by later and then the next prophecy take place. No, we're in a time now where you seeing prophecies take place, back to back to back to back. And these last few prophecies are being shaped up as we speak, all right? Oh, Salakia. Nevertheless, we, like I said, we can, as these articles come out now, it's more or less like the writing on the wall. The Most High is showing us these things as they're coming to pass to keep our faith boosted, so that we not sleep or sober, or we not sleep or drunken, more or less to say that we sober and in a sound mind when we see these things, all right, to keep us freshly reminded, keep us hot in the faith, right? This says U.S. President tweets World War III, George Galloway. The global arrogancy displayed by the president of the U.S., Donald Trump, was not just unbecoming of a great country like the USA. It displays hubris on an outstanding scale. Amid an ongoing war of words between Washington and Tehran, which is basically Iran, Trump threatened that if actual fighting breaks out between the two countries, Iran will be destroyed. All right, which is kind of weird for them to be saying things like that. Well, not really weird for them to say things like that, but coming out this hypocrite's mouth when Benjamin Netanyahu was crying and stuff, talking about Iran wants to wipe them off the face of the earth, and everybody got their pennies all in a bunch, And then when America, a couple years back was threatening Iran, and they was like, look, bro, if y'all want to bring it over here, there's nothing to turn America into a nuclear pile of ash, Again, the Americans got their pennies all up in a bunch, but now, you got this hothead Donald Trump saying the same thing. Like, look, man, we can wipe Iran off the face of the earth, It's no big deal. But nevertheless, they don't understand the repercussions of these things, all right? Iran is just not, you have to understand who these people are ancient, of ancient time, the Persians, and understand their history, man. They ain't never really been conquered by nobody except for basically Alexander the Greek and them, which are Edomites, And they had a long standing history and things like that, even to this same day, man. America's running up and down through all these other countries, but they're not running through Iran like that, I believe it was in the 50s or the 70s or something like that, where they actually had a puppet set up over there. But what? These Iranians got rid of him, and basically, set their own thing back up, And they remembered that from back in the day, and they was very careful to keep America up out of their, out of their hair, But continue on, let me just keep reading. It says, if Iran wants to fight, that will be the official end of Iran, he warned on Twitter Sunday. Never threaten the United States again. Again, look at this hypocrite. How you tell me some never threaten United States again, but you constantly, not only are you threatening these other countries, you actually actively working to destroy or overthrow these other countries, man. All right, right now, America's like the only country besides America's allies, working hand in hand with America. America's like really the only country that's got their hand in somebody else's country, man. All right, how do you say uninvited? All right, America's the only person that's with their allies, the only people that's at, with America running that. It's not like their allies are the ones saying, let's do this, and America following along. No, America's the one calling the shot, and America's the one with their hand in everybody else's cookie jar, And it's to the point that that their own allies is starting to weaken the relationship between their own allies, all right, which is also biblical prophecy, all right, as you see, like dealing with this here, I believe it's with this situation, all right, it was either here or in China. I believe it was over here in pretty much the Persian Gulf through Strait of Hormuz, where America was sending an armada that way, which they sent an armada in both places, to where Spain was like, we're gonna pull our ships from out of that armada because we're not trying to go into another conflict, man. This is gonna wind up boiling over and affecting us negatively. All right, so what? This is the biblical prophecy of what the beast starting to hate the whore. All right, so nevertheless, and going into that, what the whore being what America basically, Babylon the Great. All right, and then that beast that it's riding on. All right, is basically NATO and the EU right now. All right, this is, you can see it this way. Just put it in these terms. You got America, but America's not fighting all these wars with everybody by their damn self. All right, it's America and a coalition of nations. Like when they went into Iraq, I believe it was like 30-something nations with America just bombarding one country. All right, so you see, this is pretty much America and its allies, or the whore riding the beast. All right, but soon, you're starting to see also other NATO allies, kind of branching off from America. We have Turkey, which Turkey, it's not really, they're not really those Edomites like that, but nevertheless, some of them are actually Edomites, but nevertheless, they still, parting their ways with America as well. All right, you got Germany and France. That's also, they starting to see not eye to eye with America. So you also, you see in, the stability or the camaraderie starting to break apart within America and their allies. All right. It says to tweet such a threat of implied nuclear annihilation at a significant Islamic country can only increase instability in an already rocking global environment where first use has never been eschewed by the U.S., which is in the process of withdrawing from the limited treaty obligations of the INF with Russia, which earlier unilaterally withdrew from the Iran nuclear deal. All right, so America's over here. America's over here threatening these other nations, is trying to prepare for war, whatever. But really, it's America that's doing the same thing. Well, America's doing it, and then these other countries are building up in response, because ultimately the Lord is working on the minds of these here kings, preparing them for war. But nevertheless, in just a carnal sense, these countries are tired of being bullied by America. So now they're trying to get their own defenses. But see, now America is so-called in this here arms race to penetrate their defenses and further subjugate them. All right. But at the same time, America's over here threatening these other countries. Like, oh, see, look, they're building up an arsenal. Like, no, they're building up a defense because they're tired of you bullying them. You're the one building up the arsenal. All right. It says the threat to wipe Iran off the face of the earth makes no sense either. Though he may not know it, nuclear fallout knows no boundaries, and its closest friends in the Persian Gulf will be as equally affected as would Iran's neighbors elsewhere, making this threat one capable of unleashing uncontrollable world war. And this is one of the things that you have to take, into consideration, man. If you let a nuke off, man, you got to let them all fly, and then you got to be ready for all the consequences. All right, it's not just you hitting that landmass, but what they call like a nuclear winter. All right, this plume of smoke going up and raining down radiation back onto you, getting to the water supply, onto your crops and things like that, man. All right. Certain land masses and things like that being contaminated. All right. So if America try to go over there and nuke Iran, which is sitting right there in the Persian Gulf, man. All right. That's going to wind up contaminating their water, which, you got America and their allies over there as well. But then also it's going to, how do I say, incense or piss off Iran's allies, not just Iran's allies, but just the people in the region, because you pretty much, doing something to, just put it this way. Let's say you live in a neighborhood, in a calm, collected neighborhood, and your neighbor then moved in, and your neighbor is heavy into the gangbanging shit, right? Now, all of a sudden, because he into that gangbanging shit, some of his rivals and came through and then shot up the whole neighborhood. So now your house getting hit with the same shit. How do you think you're going to be feeling? You're not going to really be so mad at the person that was shooting. Yeah, you'd be mad at him, but you'd be more mad at the person who brought that type of attention over there. Like, bruh, we was fine and dandy in the neighborhood until you brought your happy ass over here. Now you bringing this here trouble is starting to follow you. So now I got a problem with you because you got my house shot up from the stuff that you doing. Same thing here. America's like, look, man, y'all want to, these countries are like, yo, man, if y'all wind up bombing over here, trying to bomb Iran, it's going to wind up pissing off everybody else over here. So you're going to have to deal with not just them. You only focus on Iran as a problem, but you're going to have a way bigger problem than that. All right. Not just that, it's going to really threaten the whole damn world. You know, and then ultimately, what everybody gonna want to go to war at that point in time. Like these people, like, nah, you can't do that to these people, so on and so forth. Just like how, you know, if somebody was to nuke one of America's allies, America would mount up and get ready to go to war. Same thing with this with the other side. All right, it says it's an open invitation for Iran to get its retaliation in first on the oil fields of its closest neighbors and in the Strait of Hormuz, through which most of the world's oil flow acts which would make the U.S. president threat a self-fulfilling prophecy. All right, so hey, just like I was speaking, not just, you know, the nuclear fallout in that area, but look, you can incense these people over there, but they can wind up hitting at a strike that winds up how do I say that can wind up weakening your infrastructure, more or less to say. You know, you got a lot of trade that goes through that area. All right, you have these oil lines that go through that area. All right, ultimately they was trying to put a pipeline through there. That's why they was trying to run through Syria and stuff like that. All right, but nevertheless, you know, you wind up messing up all your, you know, you fought this here whole war to implement this here infrastructure to move oil, to move guns, to move all kind of different things and resources out of there. You know, but Iran is like, look, bro, we don't have to just hit you. We know what you're here for. You know, it's just like you the big bad man on the block or whatever, whatnot, you know, and, you know, maybe you can knock everybody out. And then old boy is like, look, bro, I'm not really trying to knock you out. I know that your soft spot or your weak spot is your car. You know, you really prize your car so much. Maybe I can't beat your ass, but I'll go out there and key your car up. You know, I know you'll get all weak in the knees or whatever. That's like your kryptonite. You see what I'm saying? That's really going to wind up hurting you a whole lot. Or you the big bad dude on the block, whatever, whatnot. Yeah, you can outgun me or whatever, whatnot, whatever. But look, if I call the police, that's going to threaten your whole business structure, more or less to say. You know, you're going to stop making money. You know, you can get locked up and normally you can bail out with your business still operating. But if, you know, I wind up attacking your business, that stop everything from running. All right. So this is what America really don't want to happen. You know, if the more and more they keep pushing at this, ultimately they're gonna have to wind up going to war, because wow, they're gonna wind up how do I say screwing up their own damn rod. You know, it said it constitutes a clear and present danger to the safety of Trump's closest international partners, Israel, surely within the range of current Iranian military technologies. Iranians have stood tall for a millennium while aggressors are all gone, Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif said in response to Trump's threats. Economic terrorism and genocidal taunts will not end Iran, he added. Hey, like I was saying, going back, you know, Iran has withstood the time, you know, from antiquity all the way up until now, you know. It says, when one of these panic induced by Saddam's ancient scarcely guided Scud missiles 30 years ago, and the entirely unguided framework or firework display from the Palestinian factions behind the fence in the Gaza ghetto, one can only imagine the result of Iranian missiles raining down on Tel Aviv. You know what I'm saying? Because, hey, look, they already know. They're like, all right, y'all want to bring this over here? You know, we might not be able to take you out, but we'll take out your allies, you know? It says it underestimates, you know, and ultimately, hey, look, there's a conflict going on between Iran and Israel, all right? It says, and it underestimates, too, the zealotry, you know, being very zealous of the Iranian leadership and the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, from whom death while fighting the great Satan would be a ticket to paradise, no less. All right, and talking about great Satan, I believe they call America great Satan and Israel the little Satan, or vice versa, you know. But nevertheless, when they talk about Satan or great Satan and the little Satan, it's talking about what? America and Israel, all right? Which is all spiritual, because why? That's basically the two seats of Satan, all right? America and Israel. You know, Israel's not really a big-ass place, but what? America's the big top dog, but you know how America will bow down and follow whatever Israel says. You see what I'm saying? Because, wow, that's Amalek, all right? The chief house of Edom, all right? But nevertheless, you have Israel and you have America, all right? These are the two main thrones that America rule from. You know, they actually pull out, you know, what they're going to put out, you know, or the Israelis, or who would say like the Rothschilds, they're going to want to pin out the framework of what's going to happen, and America and their military is going to implement it. You see what I'm saying? But nevertheless, you know, it's kind of spiritual and funny all at the same time how they call them the great Satan and the little Satan, all right? And then what? Russia, all right, has a thermonuclear missile they have called the Satan 1 and the Satan 2, or the Cermat 1 and the Cermat 2, which NATO nicknames Satan 1 and Satan 2, all right? And these are these new ICBM missiles that Russia created, all right? And ultimately what? Those missiles are going to be used to wipe off what? America, and then Israel as well too. The great Satan and the little Satan gonna be taken out by what? These basic, and then they're Edomites, all right, in Russia, they're Edomites as well too. So what? Satan, all right, the Edomites are gonna wind up taking out, well, Satan, right? The Russian Edomites are gonna wind up taking out, the big and the little Satan, being Israel and America, all right, with what? A weapon called Satan 1 and Satan 2, the thermonuclear missiles, man. That's how beautiful the Most High is, man. All right, he got these people nicknaming they damn missiles the Satan 1 and Satan 2. All right. It says, in short, it may have been the most alarming tweet in history and certainly fell out of the way of the rules of Twitter. It must also constitute a considerable escalation of the risk of false flag attack on the U.S. or her friends, either perpetrated by the U.S. themselves, like the Gulf of Tonkin, which turned Vietnam into a conflagration, consuming millions of lives, by other state actors seeking to provoke the U.S. into war with Iran, or indeed by non-state actors with the same goals in mind, or even by hardline factions within the Iranian state themselves. Never forget that Hitler, using fake news media on the day, actually claimed Poland had invaded Germany. It is long past time for President Trump to wind his neck in and disable his Twitter account before it becomes a weapon of mass destruction. Now, as they over here speaking on these so-called false flags, man, hey, man, they basically telling you through the spirit, man, just all you got to do is look out for the next false flag attack, and this is when America's going to say, oh, we got to go over there for humanitarian reasons to police the world. All right, look at what this is the same plan they've been using since they came into power. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they coming over here to the Americas or whatever, whatnot, to live peace and liberty, whatever, whatnot. Then they so-called tried to help out the Native Americans and bring them peace and safety and healthy stuff, and wind up killing them off with biological weapons and smallpox. Same thing they try to tell you, Jakes, in your neighborhoods today. Oh, Planned Parenthood, we want to have you a better situation, but then they go to war with your children by killing them in your womb. All right, they always demonize people this way, man. Look what they did to Saddam Hussein, Muammar Gaddafi, man. Bashar al-Assad, he's still alive. Nicolas Maduro, he's still alive, but they're currently trying to take him out. All right, they demonize you first, come up with these false flag attacks or whatever, whatnot. They tried that multiple times in Syria, but what? It's at a time now where like the scriptures say, the wisdom of Teman is being destroyed, man. These Edomites is losing their wisdom, man. They losing they so-called golden touch as far as going to war. All right, so let me go from there. Grab some scriptures real fast. Let me go into a couple of scriptures really quick. This is Matthew chapter 24 and I'm going to start at verse 3. It says, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? So let me jump down to verse 6. It says, and you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. And so that's one of the important things that I want to, push through right now is, yeah, you're going to hear of wars and rumors of wars. Let me keep going. It says, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All of these are the beginning of sorrows. Now let me go back up to the end of verse 6. It says, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Like I said, we're not telling you about these wars and so on and so forth as if World War III is going to pop off tomorrow. No, we're telling you these things to make sure you have your house in order, to measure the time diligently, because this isn't the end. All right, we're going to have to really go through what? The day of Jacob's trouble. It's going to get way worse than this. We're going to actually have to go through these days, man. All right, but these are just the warnings before these things come to pass, so you're not caught off guard. So it's not like in the middle of, in the midst of World War III, you have to find out that you were Israelite and also dodge and duck bombs and bullets and things like that. All right. Like the scriptures say, seek the Lord while he may be found. All right. So it says, that's all I wanted to grab out of here. Let me go from there to, let me see. I want to go to Isaiah 14. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 14. I'm going to start at verse 10. All right. Verse 4. This is Isaiah 14 and 4. It says, Thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how has the oppressor ceased and the golden city ceased? All right, because this is where we at now. America's starting to cease. They're slowing down. It's like a freight train that's moving with all this momentum, just plowing through every damn thing. But all of a sudden it's slowly starting to, lose its momentum and starting to slow down. And that's where we at now. Yeah, the train still got another 20 miles worth of energy to keep going down the tracks, but ultimately, it's losing speed slowly but surely, and then it's going to only be a matter of time before that train comes to a complete stop. And that's the time frame that we in now. America's starting to crumble and collapse. But even still yet, America's still here today. It'll definitely probably be here tomorrow, so on and so forth. But eventually that train is losing steam, is running out of steam. All right. It says, verse 5, Yahweh hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. All right. Because why? This is all going into what biblical prophecy. The Most High is taking, the Most High was the one who gave Esau his rulership. All right. And set the bounds of his rulership. All right. But now the Most High is taking that staff and that scepter up out of his hand. All right. Because why? It's no longer more time. It's time now for his rulership to come, to be over. It's more or less like, here in America, you got these elections or whatever, whatnot. But, right before the elections, let's say, right before Donald Trump got in office, right? You had Barack Obama in the last little terms, That's the end all be all of his so-called reign of being the president. So what? He's winding down in his last days, all right? Same thing here with this here America and their rulership, all right? It says, verse 6, He who smote the people with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindereth. That's how America wound up ruling the rest of this here planet Earth, is in anger, man. Putting all these different trade sanctions and different bad deals on these different nations to keep these other nations poor while they was the ones being made rich, man. America wound up starving a lot of nations out and breaking their economies and putting them in a massive poverty, man. America was the one who did that out of hatred and anger, man. All right. Verse 7, the whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir tree rejoice at thee, and the cedar of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no fellow has come up against us. All right. And that's talking about once America's actually been destroyed, the world's going to rejoice. Verse 9, hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It has raised up their thrones and all the kings of the nations. That's exactly what happens when America step foot onto your landmass, your country. As soon as America touch down, man, hell from beneath is moved, man. All right, they just opened up a can of whoop ass on your ass. You know what I'm saying? They touched down, man. Let me read this again. It says, hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming, man. So as soon as you get up to go, man, all hell is raised up, man. All right. It says, it stirred up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It has raised up their thrones and all the kings of the nations, man. America's the one who wound up slaying all these mighty men and all these men of war and bared their ass and uprooted all these kings with, how they call it, regime change and things like that, man. America's the one who set the course and the boundaries of this current world that we living in now. All right. Verse 10, it says, all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Thy pomp is brought down into the grave, the noise of thy vows, the worm is spread under thee, and the worm covereth thee. All right, now why would these nations say this? Because basically, these other nations are in a situation, prior to this, they pretty much in a situation where they can't really say nothing, whatever America say they got to do, they ain't got no might in their hand to be able to say nothing. But what now? These other nations are getting strong, like America say something like, well, if we don't, what? What you gonna do about it? More or less to say, oh, you don't want us to do this deal, or else what's gonna happen? They becoming kind of weak. America, like I said, America was the people in a position to be able to say what everybody else was gonna do and what they was gonna dictate. But now Russia's getting into that scene. America's like, you can't bring your military into any country uninvited, whatever, whatnot, or else such and such is gonna happen. And guess who shows up over there? Russia show up over there, and America don't say anything about it, man. All right. Or they say you can't buy these weapons and those weapons. Now these countries like Turkey is saying, what happens if we buy the S-400 system? What you going to do about it? Oh, we ain't going to be in NATO no more? Who give a damn? You see what I'm saying? Or Iran in situations like that, man. They talking about, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. Well, what if we don't? What if we don't listen? What you going to do then? You going to bomb us? We got Russia on our side. We ain't worried about that. Bring that shit if you want that shit, man. All right. So now they kind of getting on an even playing field. When you got that one big bully, that's on the block that's dominating everybody. Everybody's afraid. But now when the tables turn, hey, man, he's just a regular dude on the block now. All right. Let me jump down to verse 16. It says, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, all right. And that's the point in time where we at now, because before everybody was afraid to even look at America, like, don't even say shit about him. You know what? Let him do him, whatever. What? Now we ain't saying shit. I'm going to turn my back. Whatever happened, whatever. I don't give a fuck. That ain't my business. I'm gonna mind my business and let them do their shit over there. Now everybody's like, hold up, bruh, hold up, bruh, hold up. That ain't your country, nigga. Get your ass up out their country. Everybody now is calling America out on their bullshit now. Beforehand, they would turn their back and be like, I ain't see shit. But nowadays, they calling America up like, hold up. You don't want to talk about police in the world. Well, what about this bullshit? What about that bullshit? What about what you doing over here and over there? Now we getting to that point now, everybody's looking at America. It's like, hold up, bruh. You the one causing all the problem. You the one got this and that going on, and they calling them out for their wickedness. All right, verse 16 again, it says, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake the kingdoms, that made the world a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners? That's exactly what America is. It's still holding on to the slaves. You still call Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans that they enslaved. All right. But then also they're the ones who destroyed the whole earth, man. Blew up the whole Middle East and all destroyed and polluted the rest of the damn planet, man. All right. Let me go from here. Shit, let me let me read verse 21 and verse 22. It says, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will raise up against them, saith Yahweh of hosts, and cut off from Babylon, or America, the name, and the remnant, and the son, and the nephew, saith Yahweh. So what? All these men, they're going to wind up dying over here, either in war or famine, death, destruction, one way or another. They're going to wind up dying off, man. There's going to be no more these Edomites over here, all right? So let me go from there to the book of Joel, chapter 3. In verse 9, it says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. It says, beat your plowshares and the swords, and your pruning hooks and the spears, let the weak say I am strong. All right. So going into that, you have these weaker nations, Iran isn't really the type of nation that would be going out on the offensive, just bombing everybody else. But you're starting to see these other nations, mounting up. They starting to beat their own chest and stick their chests out, because why? They getting weapons that's being provided by Russia. They becoming strong now. They're getting up off of the American titty, more or less to say, and being able to stand on their own. All right. So this is why you starting to see these other countries not just backing down and getting pushed over by America, as America just run up in there. You had North Korea. They were telling them to stop launching the missiles, and they was like, well, if we don't, what's going to happen? Him and Donald Trump was going back and forth over Twitter and stuff. Now they're trying to come to peace with each other. All right, because they seen them starting to get built up, not just there, Iran, Syria. That's why they backed up out of Syria. Venezuela, that's why they won't just run up into Venezuela right now. All right, but nevertheless, continuing on. Verse 11, it says, assemble yourselves and come all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down. So it's calling all these different nations to prepare their militaries. All right, it says, let the heathen be awakened. All right. So why? Because they was in a sleep state, more or less to say. They was in a dormant state. Because why? It was the time and the rulership of Esau, Edom. All right. It wasn't put inside these other nations to even come up against Esau, Edom, and try to attack him. All right. They was more or less in a hibernation state. The Lord had put that rest, or that servant spirit on them, to where they would just do whatever America tell them to do. But now they pretty much being their own man now. It says, let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit and judge all the heathen round about. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for the wickedness is great. Multitudes and multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of Yahweh is near in the valley of decision. All right, because why? This is what the Lord is preparing for these, the end all be all for America. All right, World War III and their destruction. All right, they're going to be prepared, and the Lord is raising up all the kings of the earth and their militaries to bring them into the mind state of war. All right. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50. Let me start up here in verse. This is Jeremiah chapter 50 and 3. It says, For out of the north there come up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein. They shall remove, they shall depart, both man and beast. This is talking about the land of Babylon being destroyed by what? Russia, basically. It's going to be led by Russia, all right? It's going to be a conglomeration of nations, all right, that's going to be against this so-called American side, or the Western side, all right? So it says, in those days and at that time, saith Yahweh, actually, let me go from there, jump down to verse 9. It says, For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. The arrow shall be as one of a mighty man, none shall return in vain. So ultimately, we see what here it says that Russia is going to take Babylon, all right, with her bows or her arrows, all right, these thermonuclear missiles. And it says from thence, meaning what? Intercontinental ballistic missiles. They're not going to be rolling up over here in America, letting these things off. They're going to be shooting them from Russia. They're going to make it all the way over here, all right? It says, and Chaldea shall be a spoil. All that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith Yahweh, because you were glad, because ye rejoice, O ye destroyers of my heritage, because you are grown fat as a heifer, as the grass, and bellows of bulls. Your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. All right. Hey, you can read that in what is that, Revelation 18, about standing afar off. All right, when they see the smoke of her torment going up. All right. It says, because of the wrath of Yahweh, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished and hiss at her plagues. Hey, like we reading right now. All right, it says, put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she has sinned against the Most High, or Yahweh. All right, so all these different nations that have missile capability, they're gonna wind up shooting all their arrows. It's not gonna be any missiles left after they shoot them all off. All right, verse 15, it says, shout against her round about. She hath given her hand, her foundations are fallen, her walls are thrown down. For it is the vengeance of Yahweh. Take vengeance upon her. As she hath done, do unto her. Cut off the sword from Babylon, and him that handleth the sickle, and in the time of the harvest, for the fear of the oppressing sword. For they shall turn every one to his people, and they shall flee every one to his own land. And that's what you're starting to see right now, going also into the whore hating the beast, man. Everybody, people were in conglomeration and had these deals with America and things like that, but now you're starting to see they starting to break off and do their own thing, looking back to what's in the best interest for their own nation first and foremost, all right? Let me go from there to, actually, let me read a little more. Verse 22, it says, the sound of the battle was in the land, and of great destruction. How was the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? All right, and America is that military that was beating down the whole earth, man. It's the hammer of the whole earth, but the scripture is prophesying there's going to be a downfall, destruction of that land, all right? It says, I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon. Thou wast not aware, for thou art found and caught, because thou hast striven against Yahweh. See, the Most High has got this trick bag, or this snare, this trap that Esau slipped up into, How does it say, the part of thy heart has deceived thee? They think that they still going to go on forever. They think that they strong by their own might and their own will, not knowing it's the Most High that blessed them with the sword for the time. So they're going to keep going in their pride, and they're going to wind up ultimately losing everything, all right? It's like somebody that's out there gambling, right? The whole time he been gambling, the house has been cheating to make him win the whole time. So now he didn't got all up in his feelings or whatnot, thinking he all big and bad. Now he want to go out to Vegas and wager, a $10 million bet. Like, bro, I can't lose. Every hand I was dealt, I've always won. And he just going out there, like, see, the pride of your heart's deceived you. You forgot that you was playing a rigged game to begin with, and that you was going to always win to begin with. But you really think that it was your own skill that made you win these here card games or whatever, poker games, whatever you playing. Now you want to go to a real casino and try your same luck and wonder why you losing all your chips, man. All right. It says, verse 25, Yahweh hath opened his armory and has brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of Yahweh in the land, the Yahweh of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. So, hey, man, this is the purpose of the Most High with these thermonuclear missiles. This is the purpose of prolonging this here place, man, to destroy it off the face of the earth via thermonuclear missiles, all right? It says, come up against her from the uttermost border, open her storehouse, cast her up as heaps, and destroy her utterly, let nothing be left. Slay all her bullocks and let them go down to the slaughter. Woe unto them, for their day is come, the time of their visitation. All right, this is the time where Babylon is set to fall, man. All right, the end of these Edomites. All right, it says the voice of him that flee and escape out of the land of Babylon, to declare in Zion the vengeance of Yahweh power, the vengeance of his temple. It says, call together. Well, I can read this all the way down. It says, call together the archers against Babylon. All right, all these people who have these missile capabilities. All ye that bend the bow, camped against it round about, let none thereof escape. Recompense her according to her works, according to all that she have done, do unto her. For she have been proud against Yahweh and the Holy One of Israel. Therefore shall her young men fall in the streets, and all her men of war shall be cut off in the day of the Lord. All right, because why? These proud ass Edomites was proud the whole damn time, but this is the time of their destruction. So the Lord is about to slay utterly all her men of war, man. All these men over here, they're gonna wind up dying, man. All right, verse 32, it says, and the most proud shall And the most proud shall stumble and fall, and none shall raise him up. And I will kindle a fire in the cities, and it shall devour all round about him. All right. Let me jump down. This is Jeremiah 50 and 40. It says, as the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighboring cities thereof, saith Yahweh, so shall no man abide there, neither shall any son of man dwell therein. Behold, a people shall come from the north country, a great nation, many kings shall be raised up from the coast of the earth. All right. It says, they shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel. They will not show mercy, for their voice shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses, every one put in array like a man to the battle against thee, O daughter of Babylon. So ultimately, look, this is the plan that the Most High has for these Americans. All right. Basically, for America to wind up being taken out. All right. Let me read verse 45. Therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord. All right. This is the plan of the Most High. This is the Most High's will. It says, he hath taken against Babylon, and his purpose has he purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. All right. Because why? Look, you see these tensions dealing with Israel. All right. Out of all these different Edomites, that's like what? The smallest group of them all anyway, but they the most deadliest ones out of all of them. You see what I'm saying? It's because of them it's got the whole Middle East on fire and things like that. All right. But ultimately, this is going to lead them to their death and their destruction. All right. Let me grab just a couple more precepts and I'm going to close out. This is Jeremiah 51 and 25. It says, behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, saith Yahweh, which destroyeth all the earth. And that's letting you know who exactly this is talking about. Babylon the Great, America, the one that destroyed the whole earth. All right, it says, and I will stretch out my hand upon thee, and I will roll thee down from the rocks, and will make thee a burnt mountain. And they shall not, it says, and they shall not take of thee a stone for a corner, nor a stone for the foundation, but thou shalt be desolate forever, saith Yahweh. So it ain't going to be nothing left over here, all right? It says, set ye up a standard in the land, and blow the trumpet among the nations. Prepare war. It says, Salak. Set up the standard in the land, blow the trumpet amongst the nations. Prepare the nations against her, call together against the kingdoms of Ararat, many Ashkenaz, appoint captains thereof, captains against her because of the horses to come up as rough caterpillars. It says, prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes, and the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land and the dominion. All right. So going into this, the same thing that saying, being prepared in this battle for America. All right. In which America is going to wind up losing ultimately. All right. Now this here battle is being prepared by what? Let me go ahead and grab that. We're going to close out there. All right. This is Ezekiel 38, and I'm going to start at verse 4. It says, talking about Russia, it says, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, and a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. All right. It says Persia, which is Iran, Ethiopia, Libya with them, all of them with shields and helmet, Gomer and all his bands in the house of Tomorgah, and the north quarters and all his bands and many people with thee. It says, be thou prepared and prepare thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So going back into what we was reading, there's going to be a great conglomeration of nations from the land of the north that's going to come and spoil America, all right, or Babylon the Great. This is going to be headed by Russia, all right. Then you're going to also see Iran off in there, all right. So as we see these prophecies and these news articles coming to pass, we see these prophecies being set up. So what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to be watch therefore, we're supposed to be watching for these here things, hastening the day of the Lord, So with that, Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying unto the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you. I can push in truth and sincerity in the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Till next time, I say, stay strong and shalom.